Hi, this is Todd Brown, Willie and Karen's son. We're re-recording parts of Dad's service because there were technical problems with the live stream and there's no recording available. So hopefully this is a suitable substitute. Thank you.
William Willie Brown, age 79, of Decorah, passed away on Monday, June 1st, 2020 at Bartell Eastern Star Home. He lived courageously these past few years with many challenges of Parkinson's disease. He was surrounded by loved ones at the time of his passing. Willie was born on August 9th, 1940 to Ned and Emma Brinsis Brown, the youngest of 7 children, and lived his entire life in the Decorah area. He was baptized and confirmed at First Lutheran Church in Decorah. He graduated from Decorah High School in 1959, where he met his sweetheart, Karen Grindeling. And on December 8, 1962, Willie and Karen were married at St. John's Lutheran Church in Locust and began their life together. And over the next 57 years, they were by each other's side every step of the way. After high school, Willie started working for Norman Berg of Berg Incorporated, a local residential and commercial construction business. Norman saw in Willie a bright young man with a great work ethic and mentored him in running the business. In 1979, Willie and Karen bought the construction business, and together they created Brown Builders Incorporated. Willie took great pride in building a business around quality craftsmanship and service. He felt it was an honor and a privilege to work on remodeling and building people's homes and businesses. Throughout his life, Willie was an active member of Decorah Lutheran Church. He shared his time and talents wherever needed, from waiting tables at the Nordic Fest dinner to serving on the building committee and a term as the church council president. He also gave back to the community as a member of the Decorah Rotary Club for 31 years. From building Nordic Fest floats to serving a term as the president of the Rotary Club. And during his time as a Rotarian, he was honored by receiving 2 Paul Harris Fellows, the highest honor bestowed by Rotary International. Willie enjoyed the outdoors and took his family on many camping and canoeing adventures. In his retirement, he enjoyed his annual fishing trips with friends to Lake of the Woods. He always loved working with his hands, whether it was a woodworking project like a Norwegian chest for someone to Rosemall, or carving Norwegian figurines. He also enjoyed watching or reading a good Western and solving Sudoku puzzles. He loved his family deeply and was very proud of each of them. His family will remember him as a man of few words, with a gentle soul and a witty personality. Willie is survived by his wife Karen, his children Todd and Jonelle Brown, Pam and Dean Haugen, Cindy and Clint Cheldall, and grandchildren Nick and Lynn Brown, Matt Brown and Amanda Witzlib, Luke Brown, Allie Haugen, Lars Haugen, Kira Cheldall, and Anna Cheldall. His brother Harris and Theo Brown, his sisters Dorothy Brooks, Lorraine Severson, Shirley Schick, and Sadie and Bob Sersland. His sisters-in-law Joanne Helland and Linda and Tom Johnson, along with many nieces, nephews, and cousins. He was preceded in death by his parents, Ned and Emma Brinsis Brown, his sister Harriet Les Lydall, his father and mother-in-law Kenneth and Edna Wendling Grindelin, his sister-in-law Clara Brown, and his brothers-in-law Bill Brooks, Elmer Severson, Carl Schick, and Paul Helen. Willie's family would like to extend a special thank you to Orbell Hall, Ron and Sue Borsheim, Scott and Angie Herman, Bartel Eastern Star Home, Winneshiek Medical Center Hospice, Loving Touch, and Dr. Flinchbaum, and so many other family members and friends for the prayers, caring concern, and the many acts of kindness that have been extended to them during this difficult journey.
I was Willie's granddaughter, Allie, and here are a few thoughts about Willie from his hospice nurse, Karen Bergen. Willie was a handsome young man and looked good in his track shorts. Willie cared deeply about his family, the one he grew up in and the one he raised. Willie was committed to his town and his church and was ready to serve both best he could. Willie was a man of quiet strength that supported him through moments of challenge. Willie had an under-the-radar sense of humor, could be a bit of a tease, and had a very sweet smile. Willie was a very good man. Karen, it seems clear to me that Willie adored you, starting from the very first date that didn't happen. You two were a good team, and I'm grateful to have shared time with the two of you.
Hi, I'm Clint Cheldall. I'm Willie Brown's son-in-law. Willie was a very humorous individual with a great sense of humor. I have a message from one of his former co-workers and employees, Angie Herman. This wonderful man leaves behind his legacy in many homes and people in Decorah with his hard work, his respected business, and his kind and humble ways. He is a very big part of who I am today. He was my boss, my mentor, my friend, and my Decorah dad. His knowledge and his wit touched many of us. Through my tears today, I see him in many things around me. He brought us to Decorah for my first job out of college 27 years ago. He taught me as much as any stubborn 20-year-old could absorb. He was there for me in my work and for my family. He showed his faith by his actions. I thank God for placing him in my life. I hope heaven has plenty of oatmeal raisin cookies and some really good Westerns. With love, I say goodbye to Willie Brown. Until we meet again.
My Dad, the Builder by Todd Brown. During my childhood, Dad was awake early every morning, usually before the sun came up most of the year. When I had a newspaper route, I would join him at the breakfast table for a bowl of cereal. We sat in silence, not saying much, because everyone else was still asleep. He would lace up his steel-toed work boots and would go off to work in his van full of tools. Just before supper every night, he would return with the work from the day on his boots and his clothes. Tired from his day at work, he didn't say much at the family dinner table. Some nights, after supper, we would walk to the high school for a football game, basketball game, or a wrestling meet. After the game, we didn't say much, but we talked a little about the game. As we walked back home to our home on Water Street, the cold, crisp air would fill my nose and lungs, but I was never cold. Our walk would turn into a race after we turned the corner at the family grocery store. The race would start with a jump to try touching the sign on the awning in front of the Wanksness photography studio. I seldom reached the sign. As we ran, I could hear the tromp of his boots echo off the sidewalk and the surrounding buildings. The race was always close, but he always let me win. When I was out of school for the summer, he would occasionally take me along on jobs. He would move piles of notes and plans from the passenger seat of the van, and I would jump in. As he drove, we didn't say much, but we talked a little about where we were going and what work was being done. Once we got to the job site, he would load up his tool belt from the van, and we would trot across freshly moved piles of dirt. I would join him on the ladder or scaffolding at the side of a house or a building. We would climb down into a basement or up on a roof to inspect the work the crew was doing. He would make sure everything was going smoothly or discuss how to do something or how to fix some problem. I tried to stay out of the way, whether on a roof, jumping between newly framed walls, or bouncing from plank to plank on a scaffolding. These were not Mother or OSHA approved activities for a young boy. But I had a blast, and the views from the county courthouse, clock tower, and the Decorah Lutheran Church, bell tower, and roof are spectacular. During one of those summers, Dad entered us in the Nordic Fest canoe race. I had broken my wrist earlier that summer. My lower arm was still in a cast. At 12, I was small for my age and only weighed about 65 pounds. So Dad put a 5-gallon bucket filled with water in the front of the canoe with me to keep the bow in the water. We practiced the race route from North Ski down to the Twin Bridges several times that summer. We knew where all the obstacles were hidden by the water and the fastest line through all the rapids. To increase our speed, we waxed the aluminum canoe to a mirror finish. On the day of the race, we paddled our hardest and we broke free from most of the pack before the first bridge on Highway 52. As we neared the Leif Erikson Bridge, there were only a few canoes in front of us. We thought the leaders had made a mistake, but somehow they made it through the hidden rocks. As we neared the finish, we were neck and neck with the lead canoe, containing a father and a fully grown adult son without a cast on his arm or a 5-gallon bucket of water weighing down their canoe. Dad's powerful strokes were propelling us through the water like an outboard motor, but it wasn't enough. The unburdened lead canoe beat us by less than a canoe length at the final bridge. After my high school graduation, Mom and Dad built their new business into a strong and successful part of the community. During college, I spent a few summers getting an education from Dad and his crew, mostly the crew. I learned what hard work and difficult work my dad did for his family. I eventually found my passion for building by writing code for computer programs and applications, which is not as different as it sounds from my dad's work. In the end, we didn't say much, but we were at his side, holding his hand, touching his cheek, and kissing his forehead. I told him, "Thank you. You can go. Charlie is waiting for you. I've got this, and I love you." I can still taste his love and work ethic in a simple bowl of cereal. I can still hear his love and dedication to his family in the sound of boots being laced, the echo of footfalls off a sidewalk and building, the song of a hammer at a construction site, and the lapping of waves against a canoe. I can still smell his love and pride for his family in cold, crisp air and the freshly turned dirt. I can still see his love and hard work and presence in the homes, the buildings, and the landmarks all around Decorah. And I can still feel his love and strength propelling me to be my best. I hope someday my actions and few words will speak as loudly and as clearly as my dad's did about his love for his family, friends, and community. With his wife of 57 years, the most important thing that Dad built was a loving home for his 3 children, their spouses, and their 7 grandchildren. My dad, the builder, I love you.